So get the
7:06.
answers.
All right, guys, let's start. Thank you for talking today. Let me take off my hat. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time, for bringing us together. Thank you for allowing us to live, to breathe another day, to be around our friends and our family, to hug our parents, our mom, our dad, to make sure that we say thank you and I love you another day. Give us the strength to do things right. We fall short of that every single day, but every single day we wake up with a new resolution, with your grace and with your love to start over. We ask this in your name. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. Welcome. Sorry about last week. They canceled last minute. I sent out a mass text to your parents or whoever's phone number I had on that list at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure if they got it or not, and I'm really sorry if you showed up and they weren't here. It wasn't my choice. I didn't call it. I apologize for it. We'll try to find a way to make it up. But good news now. As you can see, things are gonna. I think I've given you enough time to chill, to know that you're not threatened here. It's a class where hopefully you get to take something with you. It's a class where hopefully you get to meet God and get to know things and ask questions, and hopefully your relationship, first and foremost with Him, strengthens. Secondly, maybe with your parents or someone that you can confide in. I just don't want to waste your time if you're here. So I'm going to try my best to give you everything that I have. And if you need more, don't ask me for more. If it's too much, say, Mister, that's too much. And I respect that. I get that. Like I said, I love doing this because I love being here with you guys. Like I said, I know how hard it is for you guys to be a youth today. But at the same time, just to know that you wake up every single day tells me how strong you really are. Because it's not easy waking up every day, feeling the same emotions every day and feeling trapped. I get that. So I'm really, really proud of you guys. You have to find your strength. And I was telling Fatima, the way I went about this for this year for you guys is the first semester I told you it's going to be kind of chill. Not too much. I'm not going to push you guys. Because there's no point of me trying to teach you something if you don't think I really care. Once you understand that I do care about you, I think it's a little easy for me to give you stuff that you're like, okay, he's not just trying to do it because he's trying to show off or he thinks he knows it all. He's doing it because he genuinely cares. Hopefully that's what I'm instilling into you. With that, I understand where you're at. When it comes to our religion, I don't think we get educated very well. How do y'all think about that? Do y'all think we've been educated in our faith pretty well or kind of poorly? Right? I think they just thrown a whole bunch of information at you guys. But religion's not going to save you. Like, you can be the most religious person in the world and it's still not going to guarantee you go to heaven. I don't want to be a religious person. For me, I want to be Jesus' best friend. That's different for me. Is it beautiful to go to church? Is it beautiful to do posadas? Yeah, there's some gorgeous things we have. But it's just a reflection of His beauty. So I don't want you to be religious people. At least not yet. If you choose that for yourself, go for it. Hopefully, you come to church and do everything. I want you to become friends with Jesus. And we talked about earlier this year about the friendship and what it takes to be a real friend. And as a real friend, you don't want to betray Him. If you know He's told you something that will hurt you or affect you, you stop and think about, okay, my best friend thinks I shouldn't do this. If I'm really his best friend, even if I want to do it, I shouldn't. So learning how to be that kind of person, building your character, not your image. A lot of families want to show off what they really look like, and their hearts are on the wrong places. I want your heart to be in the right places. And no matter what you do, you're going to be okay. Now, what I'm going to go over today is I think I've talked about it before, it's a little bit redundant, but you need to take notes this time. You need to pay attention. You need to try to carve this in your heart because now it's about you guys. I've tried to show you that, hey, this is okay. This is something good for you. This is catechism. It's a really, really good thing for you. But at the end of the day, I just care that you get to heaven. And I just care that you have a relationship with Jesus. And that's it. Past that, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, you're free, man. You're free to be who you are. You're free to love how you want to love. You're free to be goofy or be serious or whatever your personality is. You're free to do that. You don't have to be a certain kind of person. As you know, I'm a person who swears a lot. I've been told like 5 times this semester to stop cussing, and it's hard for me. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, and if I've done, I'm sorry. It's just part of my lingo. I was a military dude, so it's a lot different. It's very hard, but I'll try my best. So today, I don't know if y'all know the story. I try to show y'all a story in the Bible so that y'all can understand that there's really important things in there to show us about who we are. So the story I'm attributing to you is kind of Lazarus. Have you ever heard the story of Lazarus in the Bible? There's 2 Lazarus in the New Testament. There's Lazarus the leopard. He had leprosy. He was sick. And back in those days, if you had any kind of sickness, if you were born with Down syndrome or anything like that, they thought you were cursed. That God cursed you. So you weren't allowed to go pray. You weren't allowed to go to the temple with everyone else and pray with them. So that's why Jesus at the beginning starts healing the lepers and starts healing the crippled. Because those are the ones that were pure of heart, and those are the ones that are being kept away from the actual praying part, being with God. So he's like, you're twisting this, you're confusing this. It's not supposed to be the high and mighty dressed all beautiful. It's meant for the people who are pure of heart, the gold hearts. That's what it's meant for. And in those times, just like nowadays, we confuse that. And we tend to gravitate towards what looks amazing, not what really is amazing in our hearts. So the only way, if y'all came to church this Sunday, there was an important word called metonia. I don't know if y'all heard it while Father Luis was talking. Another priest on it too, I think Federico. Metonia means, when they would say, he would say, repent, repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. But he used the word in their language called metonia, which means change your heart. Change your heart. Not just repent, not just be sorry for what you did, but change your heart so that your heart is one like Jesus. And that's our job for the rest of this semester. I'll be with you again next year. And if y'all want to do something fun this summer, we will. But that's our job for this next semester. We're going to try to get to a point where we change our heart. Now, Lazarus was one of Jesus' good friends. It was Lazarus and his 2 sisters. We can read it later on. And Lazarus died. And it's the first time that it mentions in the Bible that Jesus wept. So Jesus found out about one of his best friends, and he found that he died. He was preaching in a different town, and they said, hey, your friend Lazarus died. And it says Jesus wept. It's the first time he cries. Or at least the first time they write it in the Bible. Maybe he cried more times, I don't know. So he goes, and he sees the sisters, and he gives them a hug, and he says, hey, don't worry, he'll be okay. And he says, remove the stone, he's just sleeping. And they're like, you're crazy, he's been dead for 3 days. He's like, remove the stone. He says, Lazarus, wake up. So you can imagine Lazarus, he's all wrapped up, right? Because, they, just like back then, they would clean the body and wrap it up and try to put some perfume because it's decaying. And they say he comes out like a mummy, right? All wrapped up. And he tells the people, unwrap him. Unwrap the wraps. Take off the wraps. So my job, if I think that you guys need more spiritual life, I feel like y'all been in a cave kind of wrapped up, and I'm trying to move this boulder and tell you, come, let's learn about this spiritual life. Let's learn to be happy and live this life in a wonderful way. But you've been so wrapped up, then my job is to take away those wrappings. I have to be conscious and cognizant that when I take off these wrappings, the sun might be too bright. Because I don't know if you've ever been in a movie theater during daytime. You come out of the movie and it's like, oh, it's too bright. Your skin might be sensitive to things, and that's okay. This stuff is very, very abrasive. So I have to learn to be easy with you guys. And I'm going to try that. But right now, these next couple of weeks, is to unwrap the things that are keeping you back. To find out where that depression is keeping you back. To find out why you're so angry. To find out things that are stopping you from having that fun, good relationship with Jesus. Because things are stopping us, bro. If they weren't, we would be happy, and we're not. I text your parents, I don't see the joy in these kids like I used to see. There's no joy to be a young kid, and y'all remember what it was like to be joyful. Y'all can see kids that are joyful. And I want you guys to be joyful. I want you guys to Just wake up like you want to live that day and you live it to the maximum. I'm not saying bad things don't happen. It's going to happen because that's just part of life. But you actually enjoy your day. And that's my job, is to help you unwrap yourself, help you understand yourself. So a lot of psychology will go into this, a lot of self-assessment today will go into this, a lot of different things. God is in everything. In everything. In science, in the world, on the ground, in agriculture, God. So I'm going to use everything He's created to help you, whatever that is.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? So today we're kind of talking about the topic of happiness and life as a gift. This is a talk given by Father Robert Spitzer. I think it's a very important talk. I think it's really important for our youth, for everyone actually. I think if you understand this, if you apply it to your life, it helps in living a happier, more joyful life. And if it doesn't mean things don't happen. It just means this is how you can attain happiness. This is and it genuinely helps if you can learn to understand it. I'm gonna present other stuff in it to help us kind of digest it, but I hope this helps a lot. Happiness and life as a gift. How do we choose to be happy? He states that Plato himself said happiness is the only thing we can choose for ourselves. So what he's saying by that is that anything else that we choose for happiness. We think we're going to buy the new shoes because it's make me happy, or buy the new phone because it's going to make me happy, or renovate the house because it's going to make me happy. Whatever it is that we do, which is true, everything that we do is to try to be happy. So we have to understand that all our actions are trying to lead to this emotion of happiness. Um, Feel free to be yourself in any which way. Life is a gift and we're filled by God. Level one happiness. Level one happiness is called, according to Arthur Spitzer, immediate gratification. Gratification, kind of what it says on the screen. I want it now. It's kind of how we're wired when we're small, and how we kind of, you can see a toddler kind of give it to me now. And where a lot of people are wired this way. Hopefully, most of us have grown out of this phase, but there's some of us who in certain aspects of our lives, or we get kind of tricked into it, or the social media kind of pushes us to make us feel like we need it now. Now, it's not to say that it doesn't bring happiness. Yes, immediate gratification does bring happiness. I wanted a new iPhone, I bought it, and yes, I was happy. But how long is that happiness for? It's kind of what it gets at. So level one is a short-term happiness. It doesn't last very long. How long does it feel when I buy a new pair of shoes? Well, I'm happy until everybody sees them. Once everybody sees them, I'm not really happy no more because everybody's seen them and it's not new anymore. So as young kids or as adults, we need to understand this. Hey, immediate gratification is cool, but there's something on the other side. It's something that lasts longer. I need to get past this. If I'm living my life and I only find happiness in right now, the things that I want right now, and I'm being sad because I don't get it, then that sells a level of emotional and spiritual maturity on my behalf and saying, you know what? If I'm not happy, there's some things that I need to rearrange about myself. I need to look at life a little bit differently. And like I said, we'll go through this. There's four levels of happiness. Uh, we did a test with M&Ms to younger kids, kind of specify this and kind of punch it in. They gave these little kids, they said you can have an M&M right now at the beginning of class, or have M&Ms if you wait, is it five, or a bag of M&Ms if you wait to the end of class. And this to a whole bunch of little kids. There's a video out there somewhere on YouTube. And the crazy thing is, that most of the kids, like 99% of the kids, pick the M&M right now, as opposed to the bag of M&Ms at the end of class. They wanted it now. So it's kind of just punching in the fact that this is a toddler's mentality, a young person's mentality. It's not very mature in way of thinking. That's kind of the hypothesis. And this is what I talked about in class. Consequences as adults. So if an adult stays in this phase for most of their life, it's very difficult. They're difficult people to deal with at times. They always want it now. And in business, I understand there's things that got to get done right away. I get that part. But if you live your entire life this way, it's very tense and stressful life because you're always trying to attain everything right now. And when you look out and you don't have it right now, it brings you sadness. So They don't seem very very happy people. You can tell they're happy when they get what they want, but it's not very long, like you said. A lot of these people end up in addictions. This is what an addict looks like because if anyone who um, the high of a drug feels good at the moment, and as soon as it wears off, it's pretty bad. But instead of fighting through it and trying to understand that this is bad for you, that you don't want to stay there, they take another hit, and just over and over and over again. Um, I know it's not a very good example, but that's the best one right now I can think of. Level two happiness. Level two happiness has to do with ego comparison and achievement. So I put this picture in the slideshow because it shows first the ego being on top, which means me. I'm on top of the world. I run everything, and everything is kind of below me. And I think in the United States and in this society, we're taught to live this way. We're taught to we are the bosses, we are independent, and we are governors of our world and of our life. At least that's what we're taught, and we kind of get this mentality growing up. The eco, we're part of the eco, and this is a picture to show you that we're not necessarily on top of everything. We're just a piece of everything. And as we grow older, and as I've grown older, um, you can see how this has affected my way of thinking. Younger, always thinking I'm the boss. I would use people for myself. I would use the things below in that triangle to help me and to fulfill me. And as I grow older, as I've had a family, as I've gotten married, that's you are of service to everything and everyone else, and that brings a different level of happiness. I'm not saying that this level two is you're not happy. A lot of people get happiness in this, but the ego comparison is kind of always comparing yourself to the other person. My neighbor got a swimming pool, so now I got to put a swimming pool. My neighbor got a new truck, so now I got to get a new truck. Um, Girl looks pretty with this makeup. Now I'm gonna do better makeup. It's a comparison thing, and the problem with that, honestly, is that you compare yourself. There's always gonna be someone else better at whatever particular thing that is. Does someone have a bigger house? Always. Does someone have a newer, faster car? Always. Uh, Someone have more someone faster, more athletic? Always. So when you live in this state, it's the easiest state, the difficult state to live in because comparing yourself only leads to because you will never be as good as the next person who's better than you in whatever it is. And we're all made different. We're all strong in certain aspects and we have our strengths and that's the beauty of our faith and the beauty of our as us as a people. We make this beautiful collage. But we want to be the best at everything. I think cell phones, um, especially not cell phones, but social media itself, is an ego comparison platform. You're always comparing who's the best dancer, who's the funniest, who's the most pretty. That's what kind of kids look through when they scroll through really fast. And they're going through these things every 3 seconds for a new picture. They can go through thousands of pictures. And they're just, all they're doing is comparing themselves to these pictures. And as we know as adults, most of those things aren't realistic. What I used to do to my daughter when she would get on these social media and then show me these girls of what she wanted to be like, what she thought she should look like, I would always tell her, "Do you know what real people look like?" And she would say, "I don't know." Those are real people. That's the majority of us. What they're showing you on online is not, and we know now. I think we know that most of the things are filters and stuff like that. So this is a very dangerous place. Unfortunately, I said in America now, a lot of us stay here. A lot of us live the rest of our lives based on achievements and trying to compare ourselves to everyone else. And so short lived. It doesn't last that long. Because, like I said, you're always trying to be on top, and someone is doing the same thing. So, they're, you're never going to be the best at everything. That's impossible. So it leads to a life of depression, of not feeling like you're ever enough, of not feeling like you're ever good enough. I know because I fall into this as well. Like a human being, we all fall into these things at times. Sometimes we're more mature enough to know how to snap out of it, but for the most part, I think America is stuck here at level two happiness. And you can get happiness. Like, right? You want to be happy for 2 hours, go have a meal. You want to be happy for vacation. But those are short lived things. You can't live as a happy life individual staying on level two or level one. So the next best thing for us is level three. As a human beings and as humans that we are, if we can get to this level, I think it'll be very good. Sorry, adult consequences, like I said, the last key of this, if we stay here, then it's a very difficult life, not just for us, but once we have families, for our kids, because we teach them this as well. And we don't get to allow them to evolve and to grow and to find out what that true, or not true happiness, but longer lasting happiness is. Okay? Level three happiness, and I put Our Lady of Guadalupe because it's just a symbol of it. Contributive. So level three happiness, Father Spitzer says, when you contribute or when you are part of something in society, in around you, that brings a lot longer lasting happiness. It brings a happiness that lasts so much longer. And anybody who is either part of a family or anything like that knows these things. Your family brings you happiness because you're a part of them. One of the things that I think we've failed at as parents nowadays is that we don't make our kids a part of our family. Um, this say if I look at a rancher's or a farmer's lifestyle with their family, like their kids have chores at a very small age. Why? It's not because the parents trying to be hard on them. Maybe, well, some may, but for the most part, is because they need the kids to contribute. If the kid contributes and does his part, that allows dad and mom to do other things that help the family move forward and grow. So a young kid must do his chores so that dad doesn't have to worry about those chores. Because if you take that away from what he has to do, the family's not being as successful as it's supposed to be. So they are contributing to the family. They are part of the family. This gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of identity, a sense of strength in themselves that says, "No, I'm part of this family, and without me, this family wouldn't make it." And I think that's a very strong sense that we haven't given our kids in a long time. Um, Ancestors did it. I think our grandparents did it, and we think it's mostly out of need. Had so many kids because if you work on a farm and you needed help with that, and I get that part, but there's something sacred and something beautiful to make your kids a part of the family, not just you have your family, you're trying to support your kids, but they're a part of that as well. And I think if we make them a part of that, it'll help not only with chores and responsibilities, it'll lift up their self-esteem and they'll feel important. So contributive. They're here to contribute. And there's other ways of doing it. I put the church because youth group. You can be part of a ministry. You can go to kitchens. You can go to read books to children. Different things that make you feel like you're contributing. And anybody who does something good for someone else, everyone knows if you've done it before that happiness stays with you a lot longer, and you learn to live happy that way. Um, I have contributed many years in catechism. You have no idea the joy that it brings me when I see my old students or when I have an old student come back to me and say, "Hey, Mister, how you been? What you been up to?" It doesn't have to be more than that. I know I've contributed to that person's life, and that brings so much joy within my heart, and one of the reasons why I continue doing it. Examples, mentorship. I think mentorship is a big one. I think our kids can be mentors to younger kids because the middle school age, high school age is very, very difficult when it comes to hormones and bullying and stuff like that. And I think kids need a lot more help, especially from each other. Um, Remember, this happiness lasts longer than level two, level one, and two. If you can get here as an adult to level three and stay here most of the time, you're going to live a pretty happy life for anyone. Um, Whether you serve at the church or not, you're going to live pretty happy lives, pretty fulfilled lives if you can stay here. That's why mission trips are so big amongst adults. That's why giving back is such big because you're trying to be a part of something, and that in itself brings happiness to you. Now, when I talk to the kids and I talk, and if you're listening, um, if you're not here at level three, what's stopping you from being here? Or how can you get here? And when I talked to the kids, it was very interesting. So I said, okay, we need to get to level three. What's stopping us from getting to level three? And it shocked me because they don't have time to get to level three. There's no space in their lives to contribute except at home right now. So I looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this is a psychology thing. How human beings, um, how human beings actually try to survive in the world. So the first part is physiological, that they're eating, they're surviving with their eating, and they're not in danger, right? So the first thing you care about as a human being is that I'm surviving, I'm not dying right now. That's the physiological part. Second part, if you're getting the needs met of eating and surviving, then the second part a human being looks for is safety, right? Let me find a nice safe place. Let me make a hut, a cave, or whatever it is back in the day to make sure I am safe. Remember, the first thing is physiological. If you haven't eaten, safety doesn't matter. You'll get out of that cave to go hunt a tiger if you're hungry, right? So that's what it's trying to tell you here. Once the safety and physiological needs are met, love and belonging is met, right? You want to love and belong to something. It's amazing how this works. Um, Fourth is your esteem, how you feel about yourself. And five is self actualization, how you are prospering and what you're doing with your life, I guess. So I wrote down on this side healthy lives. What is the things that help us with the healthy lives? I put physical, mental, or physiological, or psychological, spiritual, family relationship, and purpose. So physical, obviously, eating proper diets, and you're not in danger, right? So those are the physical things that you need to be okay. You're eating well, taking care of yourself, you're exercising. That should be every single day that you're worried about that. Every day you need to take care of that. We know as adults, I myself, my tummy starts growing when I don't take care of myself or I don't eat proper. I start getting more tired. We're responsible for that. We want to make it seem like it's not as important for that, but it is important. Remember, our bodies affect our souls, and our souls affect our bodies. We are human beings. We're not just flesh. We're not just spirit. We're both, and those two things together make us human. Have to take care of both. Um, no, it's hard because we're so busy and we're so cramped up with life that it's very difficult, but we have to do it. Mental and psychological. So, the mental aspect of feeling safe in your mind, feeling sane, um, exercising that psychological aspect, understanding that how things work, how things travel around you. Usually, this is your esteem, how you perceive yourself, that your mental state, right? Next one is spiritual. Spiritual is why we come to church and learn, right? So spiritual helps two of them: five, sexual self-actualization, and three, daily prayer, love and belonging. So those two things are fulfilled by the church. Help with it. They're not fulfilled by it, but they help with it in the church. Family relationship is part of love and belonging, and purpose, which is also part of love and belonging and prosperity and realization. So this is how we should fill our day. This is the things that we need for our day for us to be healthy, happy individuals without issue. What does your teen's life look like? You can even say your life look like. So when in class, it was crazy. The first thing that we put out our phones and see how many hours we spend on our telephones, and the average for the students was 6 hours a day on their phones. 6 hours a day on their cell phones. Now, it may not sound like much. And I know they're doing it here or there. But if you went to go work and work 6 hours a day, you get a decent amount of money for working 6 hours a day. I just look at it like that, like productivity. What am I doing with this, right? If you spent 6 hours a day on your favorite hobby, or 6 hours a day on your favorite sport, you would master it. You'd be amazing at it pretty soon. So we talked about it. I know some kids say they woke up at 5. Most of them are around 6:30. I'm using just 7 because boys are different from girls. Girls wake up a lot earlier than boys, and they're just better at that kind of stuff. But we'll say 7 o'clock they wake up, and they go to school from around 8 to 4:30. I know some go in at 9, some get off at 2:30, some go in a little bit earlier, whatever that is. But this is the average. So they wake up, they get ready, they go to school, drive to school, they get there at 8. They're there till about 4:30. Some kids are there later for sports or for extracurricular activities. Then they go home. They get home around 5:15. At 5:15, around they change, they take off, throw their backpack in their room. They're like, "Oh, what a day," or just kind of chilling. Then they eat something. Most of the kids say they don't even eat with their families anymore, which is a big thing for me. But I understand we're so busy. Most of us are busy trying to maintain a lifestyle, and we're forgetting to live a life. So at 5:45 to 6 p.m., they eat something really quick. Usually, most of them just said it's about 10, 15 minutes, and then they go to their homework. Now, I know some kids don't do homework. Some kids have to do a lot of homework. Um, so from 6 to 8 p.m., the average was about 2 hours. We had kids saying they only, other kids saying they spend 4 hours. So we'll say 2 hours of homework. So from 8 to 9 is they have 1 hour for themselves. And then they have to get ready for bed. Hopefully they're going to bed around 10, 11, whatever you all decide in your house. And they get ready for the next day. Look at this right here. That's pretty much their day every day, Monday through Friday. Is all the hierarchy of needs that we need within them. It's missing. I ask kids on the regular, do you pray every morning? They don't pray every night. When? Bond with your family. Do you spend time with your mom and your dad talking? Do you call your cousins? Do you call your friends? They're sprinkling this in with the cell phone. This is a very difficult life to live. Very, very difficult. And no one can maintain this life for a long time. So you will go crazy. And if this is the kids, I can only imagine you as parents. Something has to change. If we're trying to get to level three of happiness, of giving back, of being part, of forming something beautiful, of contributing to our family and contributing to society to make us happier, how the heck are we going to do it? Saturday and Sunday, we're just trying to catch our breath for the next week. We have to learn to cut things off that don't need. We have to learn to revamp our lives. Something. I don't know what that is. I'm a big proponent of getting rid of homework, but that's just me. But something has to give because kids need to learn things when they get home. How to communicate with each other, how to resolve problems, how to be part of society in a positive way that it doesn't butcher them, it doesn't bully them, it doesn't affect them. Those are really really important. Not just learning how to do 2 plus 2. That's cool. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. I'm not saying they can't have great careers. But most of our lives we deal with people, not with things, and we don't do a good enough job of chores, of balancing a checkbook, of knowing how to make bill payments on time. Because we're not even good at it sometimes because we haven't been taught that. So when our kids get home, they have things to do, and it's unfortunate that their schoolwork comes into our home. Uh, if things continue this way, there's it's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better, and we're not going to be any happier because we don't have time to be happy. The only happiness we're getting is from level one and level two, immediate gratification and comparison, comparing ourselves, and that is never going to satisfy us because we're made for so much more. All right, level four happiness. This is the highest. This is called the transcendent happiness. So this is a happiness that transcends everything, every human possibility. This is what all humans are thirsty for, looking for. If you can stay in level four, um, which is grace, um, then you will be joyful. Joyful your whole life. You will learn to live and walk in this life with the utmost joy and enjoy your everyday life. Um, I'm a pretty joyful person most of the time. That things don't happen to me, but I try to be a good, joyful person. If any of you see me at church as a security guard, I mostly always carry a smile. It's not a fake smile; it's a genuine smile because I love people, and hopefully you can get here. And I know it's all because of level four happiness, right? So, what's level four happiness? We as humans look for four important transcendent virtues of the world of goodness. Okay, so one of them is goodness. So we as human beings, the first thing that we look for is goodness in the world. And it's transcendent because it transcends all humanity and not just the material world, but the immaterial world, spiritual world. So we look for ultimate goodness, not kind of good, not. Why do you think we look for the best tasting food? Like, if we're just looking for good food, we can eat a quesadilla with chile and some frijoles and arroz and be fine. But that's not always enough for us, right? We want to try the less or whatever the highest. For me, I like pescado zarandeado. I like seafood. So we try to look for the ultimate best tasting, the goodest good we can get. And for some reason, we're never satisfied here on earth. And there's going to be a reason for that. But that's what we're always looking for. Whether we're satisfied with it or not, we're always searching for the goodest good we can get. Goodness, right? That's the first one. Second one, truth. We all look for truth, the absolute truth. Now, in today's society, there's a weird mentality. It's always existed, but it's very prominent now of relative truth versus absolute truth. And relative truth is kind of like asking, what's your favorite flavor, vanilla or chocolate for ice cream? That's relative because that depends on whatever you like. It's an opinion, right? Well, I like vanilla better or I like chocolate better. That's just an opinion. It's a relative truth to you. It may be the truth that you do like vanilla more, and that's truth for you, but that's relative truth. But there is such a thing as absolute truth, right? God's truth. I would say like a table. The truth of a table when it's built as a table, it's a table, right? I can use it as a step stool. I can use it to dance on top, like if it was a dance floor. I can use it as a desk. I can use it for a lot of different. I can flip it on its back and store stuff on it. I can use it for a lot of different things. And even though if I used it as a ladder to step on it, it doesn't make it a ladder. It's still a table. And so the absolute truth about that statement is the absolute truth. It's a table. Regardless of how I use it, it doesn't stop it from being a table. So those are two different kind of truths. We look for the absolute truth. That's why when our friends or our neighbor tells us a chisme, if it doesn't sound true, we're kind of like, that doesn't sound completely true. Because we're looking for the absolute truth for everything that we do. That's just innate in us and part of us. And the third thing, we look for beauty. As you can tell in this society, we look for the absolute perfection of beauty. Um, Not just kind of pretty. We're always looking for the other pretty things. Guys are very bad at not just wanting the pretty girl, but the most pretty girl. And I think women are attracted to beauty as well, and maybe not in the same physical way, but in other ways. We all look for beauty. I put the sunset guy here because everyone's seen a beautiful sunset, and no one argues if it's beautiful or not. Um, it's There's beautiful things, the landscape, the mountains, the ocean. There's creatures. They're beautiful, and they're beautiful beyond measure, and we're attracted to those things. We are attracted to beauty. We are a beautiful people. We're always looking for it. And the last one that are transcendent is justice. Justice in everything. And I use the example of for the kids of if you're in a Starbucks line waiting for your coffee and someone cuts in front of you, why do you get angry? Uh, why does you have to follow the rules? Right? There is no rules. No one says you have to wait in line, but it's an understanding between us as humans that we should wait in line. Because we humans have ingrained in our hearts justice. We look for justice. It's not just that I've been standing here for so long and you get just to walk up. So these four things are the transcendent truths of life. They're goodness, truth, beauty, and justice. And these things exist only in one being perfectly, which is God. Only God is goodness, true truth, true justice. So in our hearts, we have a God-sized hole. We tried to fill it up with all kinds of stuff. That's why we're trying to buy the new car. Hopefully, it makes us happy. That's why we're trying to compare ourselves to our neighbor. Hopefully, that makes us happy because we're looking for these things right here. We're looking for all these things, and we're filling it with things that are so temporal, that'll break, that'll fade, and we don't realize that the hole that we have is only can be filled by God. It's a God-sized hole because only He belongs in there. And when you try to fill it with other things, um, quickly you will realize that those things don't last and you become very unhappy. Uh, this is only meant to be fulfilled with God. So if you can get here on earth, which is pretty rare, that's what our saints have done, to be fulfilled by goodness, truth, and beauty from God, when God fulfills your heart, you're always happy because God is the ultimate of these things. When you're not, and when you're filling it with uh, temporal things, material things, you're going to be happy for those moments, but it's never going to be long lasting happiness. This is a forever happiness. So, most of us, If and when we get to heaven, we'll actually feel this. Hopefully, if we work hard on earth and if God gives us the grace, um, and we surrender ourselves, your life increases by the manner in which you give it away. By Bishop Barron, that's what he says, and I truly believe that. But we can feel this here on earth. We can begin our heaven here on earth, but it requires us to understand this and only feel it with God. So we draw near to God. Mass, of course, please come to Mass. Prayer. Um, I talk to my kids about prayer all the time. It's just like any friend. If you don't talk to your mom every day or your dad every day or whoever, your husband or wife every day, something's awry. Usually with the people that you love and you're around, you try to at least talk to them every single day. If you spend a day, a week away from them, things are a little off. It's not that you can't get it back together because God's always waiting for us on the other side, but time with God, not just just like you have to spend time with your spouse and time with your kids. According to the schedule that we have earlier, there's no time for that. So I can see how a lot of our relationships are deteriorating because we don't spend any time with them. Barely talk to them. That's what prayer is for God. We barely talk to Him because we're so busy and we're not spending enough time. So what can help us with this? Fasting is a great way. God has given us, the church has given us a great tool of fasting. And it doesn't always have to be fasting with food. It can be soda pops or fasting with your cell phone time or fasting from all kinds of things. It's just um, fasting has been one of the most important tools, not just for myself, but for a lot of people nowadays. Silence. God only speaks in silence. Um, God isn't going to talk to you in silence. So if we don't live our lives of silence, or if we don't have time for silence, it's going to be really hard. And I don't just mean quiet. Quiet, turn off the radio, turn off the TV, and it's just quiet at the house. Which most of us nowadays can't even do that. We have to have something playing in the background, whether it's news or Pandora or Spotify, whatever. But no, we need silence. Even silence our minds, where we're just listening to God. And then patience. We have to be patient and good to ourselves. Life is a gift. How can you give it away right now? Through youth group, to volunteer at different places, become a tutor, friendships with your family and your friends, mentors. Another beautiful thing is holy orders and marriage. This is how you can give yourself away. Most people don't understand that marriage, you're giving yourself to your spouse so that they can get to heaven. Um, what stops you from giving your life away? Depression, sickness, laziness, cell phone, homework, self centeredness, or me vale attitude. And a lot of this has to do with we're too busy. We're just too busy, is what I'm realizing now. I didn't really think about that, but it's pretty crazy. We're just way too busy. God, the devil has been really smart in filling up our days. Uh, Teaching holy orders, these are the actual superheroes. Unfortunately, in our tradition, in our society, we don't teach our kids for holy orders anymore. No one wants to become a priest, or no one wants to be a son or a sister. I don't know why. These are the actual superheroes that we have on Earth, and we tend to be Marvel or DC comics that are fake. Hopefully, one day we can have a deeper talk about the holy orders. Um, marriage is a lifelong commitment. These are the four things that have to be for it to be a valid marriages. Um, Self-sacrificing and self-giving in all aspects. There's very, very important talks for married people, and if you ever want to talk about that, I think we need to. Just because I think we have a misconception of what marriage is. Most people think marriage is to be happy. No, it's not. Marriage is to be fulfilled. No, it's not. Um, Marriage, it's a sacrament, and it's a lot of love, a lot of understanding, and I think we need to visit this topic in today's, especially the young couples who are coming up with families nowadays. They need to understand. All right, we'll stop there. We'll talk about this a different day, but we'll stop there. Thank you so much for listening.